Okay guys, the next step is going to be to install the leaves onto the axles. Now let's do this. Okay, in the kit you have 6mm and 8mm screws. So by judging and looking at the depth, we're going to have to go with 6mm. So let's get this done. So what I'm going to be doing is putting the helping spring underneath it. So it's going to help it. There, both axles are done. These are not directional, so it doesn't matter which way you put them, which way you face them. And usually on a normal truck, one leaf is good. We put the helper there because the Tonka truck will be heavy. And when you screw these on, guys, try to use a screwdriver. Do not use a drill, even with a clutch. Well, depending on how good your clutch is. But because this is nylon and 3D printed, and even with the plastic, I usually don't recommend, if you're screwing into plastic, to actually use a drill. Use a screwdriver, way better and safer. So there we go. We have these, and now let's start building the chassis. Okay, the next step is to get these pretty guys out of the bag and onto the table. Okay. This is a C type chassis. What's cool with this is that there's a lot of different places here to mount the servo mount. Lots of holes for different configuration. And even here on the bottom you have little holes also where you're going to be putting the transfer case. Hey guys, Tank here. Let's start putting the leaves on these things. You could, if you wanted to, actually put all the crossmember on and build the frame, but because these are actually screwed from the inside, so you actually have to screw them from the inside of the frame to actually hold them, it's easier to do this now rather than waiting and try to do it on an angle. So let's put this on. And I'll explain a few things along the way. I'm not screwing it in all the way right now. Because I want to make sure I get the other one in. Okay, so basically you have to leave 2 holes in the front, and then you start your leaf spring, and then wherever your center of your wheel is, your rear wheel, that's where your wheelbase is going to be. Okay, for the front now, we have to figure out where it's going to go, where the rear one is going to go. So you basically put it in there, and you look down, and this one should come down pretty straight. So when you're putting this on there, the rear one should be pretty straight. So if I put it in the front one, it's too far front. If I put it just one back, it's not bad. So let's take the axle off of there. And we're actually four holes from the back. Double check, make sure that's okay. That's okay on that side. Let's see if it's the same on the other side. Should be. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're on the 4th hole. Okay, once you've put the front one on there, you have to take the other pieces. This is the swinging leaf spring hanger. And you also have a little washer cap, same one you would find on your front steering. Now this one has a little cap on it. The cap actually goes on the inside, and that's to permit that this is going to touch the chassis and your screw comes from the other side. I'll grab a screw. It's the only long one that's in there. One, two, three, four. And then you got to put a nut. Put a nut on the inside. And screw it down. Guess I'm going to have to use my plier to hold it in there. Actually, once you start putting the screw in there, you don't need anything to hold it because the screw actually fits right in between there. And it actually acts like a vise that actually holds it. There we go, we have her swinging. Now let's do the other one. Okay, now I've taken the other ones out of the package, and let's start installing them. That's gonna go there. Yes, yes, that's it. Okay, and again, we have to go on the 4th screw. Washer on the inside. Let's stick the nut in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm building a Meccano. There we go. Both of them are done. Now let's bring in the axle. Oh, no, we should do the rear one first. I got all the hardware out for this. Now I have to figure out my wheelbase. I got Chris to measure the Winnebago, but I don't have it here. He's got it at his house. And he told me it's 333 millimeters, sorry. So the best way to measure this is if you measure from your front one, and then you find your 330, and then you put your rear shackle on it at your 330, where it actually goes, because these are pretty much center. So from here to here or here to here, it's all the same distance. So if I measure from the front to the front spring to center, I'm going to have 330. And these are basically, the hole matches up with this one. So which means if I take this and I put it there, 330 adds up to pretty much right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on the 11th hole. Okay, so let's start putting that on. Okay. There we go. The rear one's done. After measuring again, I figured it'd be easier to put it at on the 10th hole. It's going to be closer to the, see, I'm at 325. these holes are every 10 centimeters, so I won't be able to get it perfectly, but it's going to be close. So for now, we'll leave it here, and we'll see once we got it on the truck to see if we can change it again or leave it that way. And again, for the rear, I can just count the holes here to actually figure out where my rear one's going to go. Or use the axle. So I'm going to be at the 5th one from the back for the rear swinging axle. Put some Loctite, 5th hole. Little tiny washer. And the way Chris mentioned this is on his video was to tighten this all the way, and then it should be all nice and tight. It is stiff, but I'm keeping going all the way until I can't go anymore, and then it actually turns freely. But with still a lot of play. Still got a lot of play on there, buddy. Okay, I got one side done. Now let's do the other side. There, and now I can check if they're both exactly the same. Voila. 5th hole back. Let's put the rear one. There is some play, but it should be fine once we install everything. If not, I can do some minor adjustment on it a little later. There, perfect. Okay, now I got all 4 of them in there. Now I can put the axles. So let's start with the front one. What I'm going to do, this is the way I'm going to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do things. So let's put this in there. I got to get the 2 small screws, put some Loctite on it. Get my trusty 1.5 out. And put the little screw in there. Screw that to the end. More Loctite. I could have put the cross members first, but I'm going to try it this way. See how it actually ends up. I could have bent the leaf to actually make it fit, but I decided to do it this way. One done. When you're doing this, make sure you got your desk clear. Because you'll be moving things around a lot. It's amazing how on the front we have this little tiny screw, but in the back we have this big screw holding the lease. Mind you, in the front we do have those spacers that goes in it. There, front one's done. Now let's do the rear one. Okay, for the rear, let's put the rear on. Now when you're putting your axle, one thing to keep in mind is to put your axle with the shaft pointing towards each other. Because if you put it the other way, you're going to have problems. It's a joke. Okay. These are threaded on both sides, so get them started. This is going to be my big guy, 2.5. And now to do the other side. And there we go. Build. Well, not really. I'm not finished yet. I got to install my crossmember and my front. Now, let's install the crossmember, the rear shock mount, and the center one and the front servo mount is going to help hold everything. And for this, for now, because I'm not quite sure if the shock position is going to be good, so I'm not going to use Loctite, and I'm not going to put all the screws in there. But theoretically, the shock should go around here. This should come, I don't know if I'm going to go from the inside or from the outside yet. So I'll just put this here for now, just to hold everything. And we'll put the center one in. I should have put it in before tightening too much of screws, but it should have been pretty good. And then we'll put our servo mount. What's neat with the servo mount is that they do have a notch there, because when the frame starts going up, it permits you to put that servo mount as far back as you can. And And again here, I'm not using Loctite or anything. I'm just putting them here. So it's just to keep the space for now, to see if that's where I'm going to put it or not. There we go, servo mount all installed. And once I have my arm and my servo in there, everything should be nice and fancy. Now, how do I put that in there? That is the next step. So now let's install the T-case crossmember. So it's going to go there. What I like about this is that it actually has the shims built into the hardware. So you can put it on this and it actually goes over the screw and you don't have to worry about anything. Because the drop I put on that side because my pumpkin is on that side. So everything's going to match up. So let me find the right screw for this. Oh, I put all my screws in this little guy. You know, this is a Tonka built, so and that is the right screw. Let's put a little Loctite. There we go. This does have a little notch in it, so it fits your dry shaft. Okay, the way to install this is you put it on a little bit of an angle. And then everything just fits in there. And then you can adjust where the motor goes. So you can have it farther front, farther back. So you can adjust depending on where you want the weight, the center weight and all that of the rig to be. So me, I'm going to have to open up the Winnebago and actually see where I want my motor to be set. And then I can determine where that motor is going to go, and then I can figure out what's going to be the length of my dry shaft. The rear one's going to be nice and long. So for now, we'll put it near the rear, so it's more center. And there we go.